Welcome to the Tool Review channel. Today we're taking a look at the Tool Shop 7-inch heavy-duty diagonal cutters. Now this is another cheap pair of tools that you can buy at your local Menards if you have one local to you, or if you would like to buy them online. Now these are like a $5 pair of diagonal cutters, and if you saw my last review on the lineman's pliers, that didn't really work out as well as I was thinking it was going to work out. So I decided to pick these up as well to see how well they would work out, considering they call them heavy duty wire cutters. So we'll see how well they work out. But before we get to cutting, we'll take a look at these pliers right here. And as you can see right here, the finish on them is definitely not the greatest. Now, I didn't do anything to these. This is literally how you get them in the store. They don't really come in any packaging. All they have is a little tag wrapped around the handles, and they're just thrown into a bin with a bunch of other pliers. Now, this was like the best pair of pliers, the best looking pair of pliers. But as you can see, there's definitely some imperfections in the pliers right there, in the handles. You know, like I said in the last video, I'm not really sure why they when you use them for an extended period of time, the grip starts to kind of like stick to your hands, which is kind of weird. But it is a double dipped style of handle, so if you're cutting through something, definitely your hand fatigue is not going to be a problem. But I'm not really sure how well you're going to be able to cut through something with these. And there you can see the tool shop name laser etched onto the surface of the plier as well. Now this isn't a high leverage design. As you can see, the rivet is quite a bit of distance away from the cutting edge. Now we'll get to the cutting edge. As you can see, you have this large opening right here. And the two cutting edges just meet like most diagonal cutting pliers, and this is as far open as they will go. As you can see, I can't really get them open any more than that, so this is about as far as they go right there. So I guess all that's really left to do now is zoom out here and see what these can and can't cut through. As you saw, if you saw the lineman plier review I did of these, they couldn't really cut through anything. So we'll see how well these can cut through some wire. So we're going to start off with some 18 gauge solid wire right here and see if we can cut through that. Should be able to, but you never know. And as you can see right there, you are able to cut through that 18 gauge thermostat wire somewhat. Just depends on where you put it in the cutting edge. The cutting edge on here definitely isn't the most perfect cutting edge in the world. If you do hold it up to light, you can kind of see a few gaps in the cutting edge. But as you can see right there, it has no problem cutting through that 18 gauge solid wire. So now we're going to bring in some 14 gauge stranded wire and see if we can cut through this. And we'll go ahead and see if we can cut through that right there. And as you can see right there, you are able to cut through some 14 gauge stranded wire right there. So we'll go ahead and clear that out of the background right there. And we will bring in some 12 gauge stranded wire and see if we can cut through this. So we'll go ahead and put that up there. And as you can see, definitely gonna have to use a little bit more force, but as you can see right there, you are able to cut through that 12 gauge stranded wire no problem. But you definitely have to use a little bit more force, and that's mainly because the rivet is so far back, and you don't really have a lot of leverage here with the handles on here, so you really just have to kind of squeeze down on it. So now we're going to bring in some 10 gauge stranded wire and see if we can go ahead and cut through this guy. And as you can see right there, you are able to cut through this 10 gauge stranded wire no problem, and as you can see, it just shoots the it shoots that wire off into my background. So it will cut through some 10 gauge stranded wire. Now we're going to bring in some 18.5 thermostat wire, so it's 5 18 gauge wires there on the inside. And we'll see if we can cut through this. And there's also a little piece of insulation that follows throughout the inside of this. It's a little white piece of insulation, and we'll see if we can cut through that as well. And as you can see right there, we are able to cut through that as well, and you definitely hear a pretty large snapping noise when you cut through that, but you are able to cut through that, which is nice. And that's really about all you can cut through, I would say, with these pliers. We'll go ahead and bring our 10 gauge wire back in here and see if you can cut through two 10 gauge wires at once. I'm not too confident we're going to be able to do this, especially not you really having the leverage to do it. As you can see right there, you definitely are going to struggle with it. I mean, you can do it right there, but you're definitely going to struggle cutting through more than one conductor at a time, and especially if you're cutting through some thicker conductors, like 10 gauge solid or 8 gauge solid wire, or maybe 6 gauge solid wire. You're probably going to struggle a lot with these, obviously because the handles aren't large, and the cutting edge definitely isn't the greatest in the world for being a $5 pair of diagonal cutters. But I am pretty surprised that these performed a lot better than the lineman pliers I reviewed from Tool Shop, so that's a plus for them, I guess. But I still am not really sure who these are really marketed towards. I would say these are maybe marketed towards, homeowners. Someone who doesn't really use tools a lot and maybe just needs, a zip tie cut here and there, or they're, trying to get a toy out of a box and, want to cut those, twisty ties off or whatever. Definitely don't really recommend these for professional use. There's definitely a lot better options out there. Like, yeah, you're going to spend some money on them. You don't really have to go crazy, but, a $20 pair or, a $15 pair of diagonal cutters is going to do a lot better job than these $5 pair of diagonal cutters from Tool Shop. But that's really about it for this video. So if you have any questions, comments, concerns, please feel free to leave them down in the comment section below. And if you're new to the channel and you want to see more content like this, please consider hitting that subscribe button. And if you did enjoy the video, please consider giving it a thumbs up as well. But that's all I have for this video. Thank you for watching, and stay tuned for the next video to be uploaded.